This is Dr. Andy Yates on the Incongruous channel. This is part 7 of my presentation on my theory of energy being the answer to all the paranormal phenomena that we see. All right, energy is everything. Okay, in part 6, I just got to the part where I was talking about auras and the layers of auras, of which I think there are 4 important ones, which is the astral, the mental, the emotional, and then the physical. And then that's important. When we get a message from the astral, it then comes to us at the mental level. It then comes to us at the more emotional level, telling us there's something we need to do something about, and if we don't, it hits us physically and could perhaps make us ill. And that seems to make sense. They're outside the body. Now, inside the body, you have the chakras. And there are 7 of those. They're all related to energy, you see. There's the root, which is right below, sort of between at the base. I'm trying to find the nice words to put it. The base of your body, right? Above that is the sacrum, which is the bottom of your spine. Then there's the solar plexus, which is here at the join of the ribs. Then there's the heart, throat, brow, forehead, third eye, and then the crown is at the top of the head and out. So those are the 7, okay? And there's a lot of discussion about apologists for the chakra system who say they relate to the limbic system or the nervous system, the endocrine system. And it provides a specific focus for certain healing techniques, like acupuncture. And you'll see the acupuncture charts, and some of the main places on the charts are the chakras. And in Reiki, when you do Reiki, you put your hands on the various parts, generally where the chakras are, or you put them over those parts because you don't have to touch somebody in Reiki. And you just allow the energy to flow through you to those parts. And it will go where it's meant to go to anyway, so it's kind of a easy thing to apply because you can't get it wrong. And there we are. But you can get a clue of what the chakras are doing. You can measure it with a pendulum, with a crystal on or something. And you will find that people who have certain issues, they have chakras that are blocked and everything like this, and that will relate to their state of energy at that time. It's quite surprising how accurate that is, actually. Anyway, that kind of brings us on to a big question now. What is the soul? Well, I consider that the soul basically describes mind, life, energy. So various religions and philosophies debate as to its mortality. Can it die? Or does it go on? You can see where I'm going, right? But if it's energetic, then it's indestructible, isn't it? We've already said that. You can't destroy it, you can't create it. It's energy. So it doesn't have mortality. It doesn't apply to the soul. When a person dies, their physical energy decomposes. It decays into other energy forms. And mind energy, because it's indestructible, is released. So I'm not sure it is normal passage and movement and where it goes to and stuff like this, but according to my experience, sometimes it travels, sometimes it becomes partly or completely diffused into the universal consciousness. Sometimes it maintains cohesion and stays as a singular mind-life energy package. I think theory and hypothesis is quite acceptable, and you don't need to have solid hard proof for anything really, because there's so many things nowadays, even in science, that are basically just theoretical, yet they're accepted. But it's helpful for science to support things, but it's not essential in the realm of the paranormal. One problem is a lot of times it's challenging to separate the honest experiential evidence from hoax and lies. There are many examples that demonstrate the almost desperate need for people to find some kind of proof of some belief. They may have somebody who's passed over who they miss terribly, and they want to prove that they can still contact that person, and so on and so forth. And someone can take advantage of that, of course. There are many religious types of visitations, religious visitations and appearances that do fit into the idea of what you have is a cohesive mind-life energy that comes down, and then the brain translates it into some kind of a vision of, I don't know, the Virgin Mary, for example, especially to a peasant girl in a very, very religious upbringing. And it's a miracle. I mean, I always have problems with these miracles and things like this, because you hear these things, you know, and there's this earthquake or something awful like that, right? And 5,000 people die, but then they find the baby under a rock and the baby's unharmed. It's a miracle. No, it isn't. It's lovely. It's great. Don't get me wrong. It's great that the baby was saved. But if there was a miracle, they would have saved 5,001 people, wouldn't they? You don't let 5,000 die and then have one miracle, which is saving one baby, because maybe 100 babies died, but that one was saved. That's not a miracle. A miracle would be stopping wars, would be stopping disease, would be making life better on this planet. That would be a miracle. You know, selecting only what is good out of all the many things that happen, and then saying those are miracles, but all the rest are something else. It's like, pfft. Anyway, sorry, I went off there, didn't I? So, still with miracles. So my theory here is a litmus paper for consideration. Could a miracle, such as a paranormal event, a visitation, an experience, be explained by the concept of mind-life energy? And most times, yes, it can. A visitation could be the attendance of a cohesive mind energy, which grows, and cohesive energy and substance, it sticks tighter together the more energy that's fed back to it from whoever's observing it, especially if it appears repeatedly over time. But could the same energy have been translated differently by other people? Yes, it could, because they would have different beliefs about what a good person is. You know, it's one saint over here and a Hindu saint over here, a Christian saint over there and a Hindu saint over there. Still a person, a good entity. Okay. Reincarnation. Okay, now reincarnation is a mystery to me, and I'm very delighted to have connected, in a sense, with somebody who is I don't know whether they're practicing Hindu, but certainly from a very strong Hindu background, and I'm hoping to learn from them more about reincarnation. I spoke fairly recently with a Buddhist monk in a temple nearby, and a little bit about it, but there were other things going on. I didn't have a chance to really get into his head and say, but how does this work, and how can that work, and how can this happen, and that, because I've got all kinds of questions and all kinds of like, it doesn't make sense. A lot of things like this, but the universe is made of energy, and that energy cannot be created or destroyed. So this implies that there is a fixed amount of energy in total. One recent scientific theory suggests that the sum total of energy is in fact zero, that the positive energy is exactly matched by the negative. Positive energy is made up of protons, matter, and antimatter, and the negative is made up by gravity. Who knows? I don't. And he's theorizing it. Theory, but that's okay. one way of looking at it, there is a pool of energy and there's only so much you can use. So that gives you the idea that mind life energy would cycle around. So that mind life energy, when it leaves a human, would then come back into another human. But I have all kinds of issues with that. But anyway, there's got to be some, because we've got an increasing population. So there's got to be some babies that are born without karma, for example, because there isn't enough to go round. Because there's more people being born than there are dying. If it's a straight one-to-one recycle. So is it? Yeah. But I do get this idea that the physical body goes through life, right? And you reach a maturity, I don't know, in your 20s or whatever. And then it starts to slowly decline. But the mental and the spiritual seems to continue increasing. As long as you don't get ill with some kind of dementia or something, you do improve your spiritual abilities, your mental capabilities, and so on and so on, pretty much to the point of death, assuming your mind stays healthy, right? Whereas your body declines. So now you've got this pumping mass of energy, mind life energy, and it just goes off? No, I don't think so. The body does, and then that goes on to its next step in evolution or enlightenment. Is it conceivable that when a baby's born, perhaps a little piece of that mind life energy could go into it? Well, I suppose. Energy's out there. You draw it from wherever it is. But it seems odd that a baby would be born and then at a certain age, I've heard some people say 6 months, the karma of a person who's lived a complete life is then shoved into this innocent, clean, sterile baby. And that baby now, that innocent, clean baby, gets all the stuff that other person did. No, it doesn't seem right. Doesn't seem to work energetically either. Why would there be an attraction between the two? So I don't know, is basically my answer on that. I'm sorry about that. I can't give an easy answer. It just doesn't work for me. And you wouldn't know. I mean, you know, if a little bit of something came in from Fred, who died earlier, into Billy, who's just been born, well, it's just Billy who's just been born. He may have a little bit of Fred's character in, but who's going to know? Because it's just Billy. I don't know. I don't understand. It's the rebirth of soul in another body. Theoretically, after death, a soul or mind energy begins a process of diffusion towards a complete merging with the universal energy. That diffusion may range from complete to partial. So you'd have to say it'd have to be partial so that you end up with this discrete human energy package that could then go back into a child. And I don't know. Oh, don't tell me the dogs are going to start fighting now. I've been doing so well getting these stuff cracked off. This is number 7, right? Right. I keep checking back and forth. Part 7. I don't know. I go so quickly. I don't know. Part 7. Yes, this is part 7. It's terrible, isn't it? So spirits can exist both as a partially reincarnated person, retain their presence in the spirit world, because this concept, but there's a concept between divergence. If there's one piece of them here and one piece of them there, what you're getting is basically, I don't understand reincarnation. I really don't. I don't understand the sense of it. My dogs are going to fight now. They're going to make a noise. They already play. They love each other. But they're going to fight over a bone. Oh dear. It's life, isn't it lovely? Life, isn't it lovely? But I'll tell you, when you have a look on the other side, it doesn't seem that bad to me. It's not all gold streets and pillars and everybody's wearing togas and things that you'll see in the paintings and stuff. But the freedom, oh, it's a wonderful thing. Anyway, so I don't know. Let's just leave it there. Now let's talk about what we got. 5 minutes. Can we do this? You know, I'm going to just leave this for the next one, because the next thing that's coming up is aliens. Now, I've been doing quite a bit of research and analysis into aliens recently. I've had no facts, but I might as well add it to the end of this because it's all part of it. And I think it's related to this idea of mind-life energy. Because if our natural evolutionary process is to grow from a physical and spiritual being into a purely spiritual being, an energetic being, and that's our evolution, right? So we lift out and become this free energy spirit thing. Perhaps that's what the aliens are. Perhaps that's how they can move faster than the speed of light, so they can actually get here in time. Because that's one of the main arguments about why they could never get here, because the distances in space are so vast. But if you can maybe be energetic and somehow slip between time and space, I don't know. It's just a thought. Maybe that's what they are. Mind life energy. But they've evolved from a different point of view. You've got the people who've died and gone on that route to become mind life energy. And then you've got the people who have evolved into purely energetic mind life beings. We're way out there now, aren't we? Anyway, let's talk about that next, because that'll probably be a whole little show, and then that'll bring us to the end of our theory of energy. Sorry, I keep looking at the clock. Bring us to the end of our theory of how energy explains the paranormal. How one concept, the concept of energy being everything, explains all of the paranormal, supernatural, the religious, the spiritual, the psychic, near-death experiences, all of it. Except for reincarnation, which I really don't understand enough about, do I? Very clearly. All right. So let's pick that up after the thing. This is number 7 of that theory of energy. I'm Dr. Andy Yates. This is the Incongruous Channel. Take care until part 8.